Beneil Dariush was recently on an 8-fight winning streak before he came across Charles Oliveira. And a lot of people kind of chalk it up to just Charles being better than him, which was true. But at the same time, I genuinely believe that Beneil will never be a UFC champion. And here's why. So if you watch any previous tape of Beneil, he tends to do pretty bad against guys that are pressure fighters. And before he started his 8-fight winning streak, the last guy he lost to was Alexander Hernandez. And if you watch that fight, Alexander was pressuring him really, really bad the entire time. And that's where he kind of cracked. You know, at some point, he can't take it no more. And he's going to get a big shot landed on him. And he's going to go out because he's always been a little bit chinny at the same time. And that was kind of one of the biggest things that I noticed, that a lot of the media members and all these guys on YouTube, none of them really pointed out that Charles Oliveira is probably the biggest pressure fighter there is in the top 10, especially in the top 5. I mean, he broke Gaethje with his pressure. He broke Poirier with his pressure. People can't really take it from him. And Beneil, a guy that's always been a little bit sus about pressure fighters, I feel like that was a recipe for disaster to begin with. Now, Charles Oliveira, he's a beast. Let's be real, guys. He's clearly the number 1 contender. Potentially could beat Islam in the rematch. But let's get back to Beneil. So Beneil had a really good fight against Mateusz Gamrot, which is an up-and-coming star. So he kind of proved himself to be good against that kind of style of pressure fighting, because Mateusz is non-stop takedowns. But the problem with Mateusz Gamrot is his striking is piss poor. And I feel like Beneil's striking is very overrated, mainly because of that fight. If you look closely in that fight, Beneil didn't really land anything. All he landed was one big overhand, and that was it. And the whole time he was just swinging massive overhand rights, massive overhand lefts, and he only clipped him one time out of the entire fight. All he did is really stuffed a bunch of takedowns. And I feel like Beneil's biggest problem is his chin. You know, the thing about the Oliveira fight was a lot of people said it was a pretty favorable matchup for him because Oliveira's been chinny, but Beneil's also been pretty chinny his entire career. So it was kind of whose chin is going to get cracked first. And most people assumed that Oliveira's chin was going to get cracked first, since he gets cracked in every single fight. But the problem is, when you have such bad striking, all you shoot is a bunch of overhand lefts and overhand rights. You're not really going to catch somebody as quick as Oliveira. All right, so now that we established the problems in Beneil's game, his chin, his sloppy striking, his takedown defense is as good as it gets, and his scrambles are also as good as they get. But let's look how he compares to everybody else in the top 5, because I don't really think he beats any of them, to be honest. So currently Beneil sits at number 4, and right above him is Justin Gaethje at number 3. So Justin Gaethje is a crazy pressure fighter. That's kind of where he breaks most of his opponents, is through the pressure, the relentless pressure. And Justin Gaethje will destroy his legs. And Justin Gaethje has crisp striking. I feel like Justin Gaethje would knock out Beneil probably in the first round, if not the second. So Beneil would really have to mix it up with takedowns. But Justin Gaethje has showed to have a really good takedown defense, unless it's Khabib. Now, Justin Gaethje also has a problem with being a little bit retarded. But as long as he kind of keeps a pretty level-headed fight, he should be able to beat Beneil in that fight. But if we get the Gaethje that came out against Oliveira, I think Beneil would probably beat him in that fight, just because the CTE is really getting to him at this point. All right, now right above Gaethje, we got Dustin Poirier. And Dustin Poirier isn't the craziest pressure fighter, but his pace is too good. His striking is too crisp. His chin is way too good for Beneil. His takedown defense it's all right. It's not the best, but it's not too bad either. So I think Dustin Poirier would probably just piece him up and knock him out in the first round because of that chin. Beneil's got such a bad chin. And right above that, we got Charles Oliveira, who just knocked him out in the first round. Proved to be levels above him. But the craziest thing is I feel like Beneil versus Islam would actually be his most favorable matchup, because Islam, sure, he has pretty good pressure, but the thing is, Islam's going to want to take you down, and I don't think anybody really out-scrambles Beneil Dariush. But at the same time, Islam has showed to have really, really good striking. If you watch the Oliveira fight, he outstruck him, he hurt him, dropped him, and then submitted him. And his striking was so good against Alexander Volkanovski. Now, let's be real, Alexander Volkanovski did have the takedown to fear, so it kind of opens up to get hit. But I think that Islam's striking is just too clean for someone like Beneil Dariush. And Beneil Dariush is old already. Well, 34 is not that old, but he looks like he's 50. I feel like he's a little bit overrated all in all. Like, he's obviously better than the top 10. I think he's kind of about where he belongs, about in the top 5. But I think Michael Chandler would probably knock him out in the first round as well. Michael Chandler's got bombs in his hand. He almost knocked out Dustin Poirier in that first fight. Beneil's best weapon is his scrambles. But the problem is, if you're fighting someone like a Arman Tsarukyan or a Mateusz Gamrot, who's just going to keep trying to take you down where they have pretty bad striking, then that works out in his favor. Because I think that he would beat someone like Arman Tsarukyan, who has been rumored to, the rumors are kind of going around where they might fight next, depending on how everything goes. But back to Beneil. So his scrambling is as good as it gets. But the problem is, when he's on top, he can't do ground and pound to you. Everybody was watching that Oliveira fight, and the UFC stats are crazy for this. They said that Beneil landed, I think, 18 ground strikes to Oliveira's 0, which is completely not true. If you actually watch the fight, he was punching the canvas the entire time. He was trying to get John Jones out of there to go get his USADA testing done. He can beat all the guys in the top 10, but definitely not the guys in the top 5. But yeah, that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think. I don't think he'll ever be a UFC champion. I think, especially now, since he just lost to Oliveira, he's not a very big name. Not many people really care about him, to be honest. So I think he'll probably just be one of those stepping stone guys for the up-and-comers to get into the top 5, top 10. So we'll see how it goes for Beneil. I wish him nothing but the best, man. That guy's, he's as nice of a guy as it gets, So I guess we'll kind of just see how it goes. Let me know what you guys think. And I guess, yeah, I'll see you guys next time.
I will never let a sucker start an Armageddon.